Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In today's exciting episode, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare American coinage as we explore 6 of the most valuable and ultra-rare United States coins ever discovered. These aren't your everyday pocket change finds. Each of these coins carries incredible historical significance, unique features, and market values that have shocked collectors and investors alike. From stunning design details to unexpected minting errors and elusive high-grade survivors, these coins represent the pinnacle of rarity and desirability in numismatics. The 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar holds a special place in modern U.S. numismatics. While the series began in 1964, by the early 1970s, the coin was evolving from a circulation piece to a collector's object, and this particular issue is sought for both its commonness in circulating grades and for certain rare varieties. For the collector interested in U.S. half-dollars, the 1972 D is a convenient yet interesting date. It offers low face value entry but, in high condition or rare variety, can command meaningful premiums. It appeals to collectors who appreciate the Kennedy portrait era, modern clad composition, and variety hunting. Though not generally regarded as one of the ultra-key coins of U.S. numismatics, it nonetheless offers an accessible modern half-dollar with potential for upgrade and rarity recognition. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, mint mark D, for general circulation and bullion issues in 1972. According to data, the mintage for the 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar was 141,890,000. Its production falls within the clad era, post-silver, of the Kennedy half-dollar, after the 40% silver versions were eliminated in 1970. The broader Kennedy half-dollar series was introduced in the wake of President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963, his image replacing the Franklin design in 1964. In 1972, the U.S. economy and coinage circulation were affected by changing public behavior. The half-dollar denomination was already in decline in everyday use. Thus the coin sits at an interesting moment, still broadly struck for circulation, yet increasingly appreciated by collectors as the public used fewer half-dollars, and the series began to become more specialist than general purpose. In terms of physical specifications, the 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar has a diameter of 30.61 and a weight of 11.3 g for the business strike. Composition: it is copper-nickel clad, 75% copper, 25% nickel outer layers over a pure copper core. The obverse features John F. Kennedy's bust facing left, designed by Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse features the presidential seal eagles designed by Frank Gasparro. In typical coins, the initials FG of Gasparro appear on the reverse beneath the eagle's left talon leg, though interestingly one of the rare varieties of this date lacks the FG initials, a point of variety interest FS901. Visually and technically, for the clad series, the strike quality, surface preservation, bag marks, contact marks, and eye appeal, tunning, luster are key for collector appeal. While the design is not radical, it continues the familiar Kennedy obverse we all know. The modern collectible appeal lies in finding a strong strike, minimal marks, and ideally high grade or a recognized variety. Under normal circumstances, the 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar would be considered common. With a mintage of approximately 141.9 million, specimens exist in abundance. As a result, ordinary circulated examples trade at modest premiums over face value. However, the key to collector value is condition, uncirculated gem top grades, and indeed the presence of noted varieties. For example, the no FG variety FS901, where the FG initials on the reverse are missing, is recognized as presently very rare among that issue. According to a numismatic article, a 1972 D No FG graded MS63 sold for $2,485 as a highlight. Thus, while the base coin is common, the combination of top-graded condition and recognized variety creates a restricted field, thereby elevating rarity. Condition is critical. Even a coin graded, say, MS63 or MS64, uncirculated, commands far more than a heavily bag-marked example. Collectors focus on strike, luster, absence of marks, original surfaces, and certification by major grading services. For the standard 1972 D Kennedy $half in average circulated condition, recent price guides suggest values of under 1.5 in typical grades. For example, the online resource shows values for uncirculated MS Plus, minimal at about $3.58 or more. On the other hand, for high grades MS condition, and especially for error or variety specimens, values escalate. A broad guide once listed a 1972 D50C MS62 at roughly $7,200, though this number is flagged as significant rarity among modern clad coins. For the no FG variety specifically, one auction record shows MS63 sold for approximately $2,485.13. Recent archived sales of FS9, a one variety grades AU55 MS64, ranged from about $119 to $953 in one sample over 15 years. Thus, realistic market values depend heavily on grade and variety. For a typical circulated coin, modest value. For an uncirculated coin without errors, graded MS65 plus maybe several tens to a few hundreds of dollars. And for the rare recognized variety in high grades, thousands of dollars. The driving factors for value are condition, certification, recognized variety, no FG, collector demand for modern varieties, and the general health of the coin collecting market. If you're considering acquiring a 1972 D Kennedy $half or upgrading one, here are some practical tips for collectors. First, decide whether you're collecting the base coin or seeking the variety, no FG. If it's the variety, you must inspect the reverse for the absence of the FG, initials beneath the eagle's leg, often requiring magnification. As the variety is rare, you'll want certification by a respected third-party grading service, e.g., Professional Coin Grading Service PCGS or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation NGC. For any high-grade purchase, look for gem grades, MS65 and above, and check the population reports. Proper storage is a must. Keep the coin in a stable, low-humidity environment, ideally inert holders, and avoid excessive handling. If you're buying, work with reputable dealers or trusted auction houses. Check for certification label, slab condition, and images of the coin. And always compare recent auction results for that exact grade and variety to assess fair market value. For the base coin, you might find attractive raw, uncertified, uncirculated examples at modest cost, but for the premium variety, slabbed certification is nearly essential. Finally, be patient. Modern clad coins may require time for rarity recognition and value appreciation. In summary, the 1972 D Kennedy $half is a modern-era U.S. $half that bridges circulation use and specialist collecting. While its base mintage is large and ordinary examples remain inexpensive, the presence of a distinct variety, no FG, and the possibility of higher-grade uncirculated examples gives this date real interest to numismatists. Historically, it captures the post-silver, clad era of the Kennedy $half series and sits at a point when $half were already moving away from everyday circulation use. Aesthetically and monetarily, the coin rewards those who seek strong surfaces, good eye appeal, and certified pedigree. For new collectors, it offers an accessible doorway into $half collecting. For experienced collectors, it presents a chance to chase the subtleties of modern coin variety hunting. With careful selection and preservation, it holds both historical value and investment potential in the modern coin market. Next up to in. The 1973 D Kennedy $half stands as one of the more fascinating circulation issue coins from the modern era, attracting collectors for its blend of historical significance, aesthetic appeal, and surprising value in high-grade condition. While millions were minted, only an extremely small number survive in exceptional states of preservation, making top-graded examples highly sought after in today's numismatic market. Collectors often pursue this particular issue because it represents a unique period in U.S. coinage, post-silver era production, transitional minting technology, and growing interest in modern condition rarities. As a result, the finest known 1973 D-halves have reached impressive price levels at auction, reinforcing the coin's strong demand among enthusiasts. And invest the 1973 D-half dollar was struck at the Denver Mint at a time when the Kennedy series had firmly established itself as a symbol of national remembrance after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy a decade earlier. By 1973, the Mint was focused on producing large numbers of half dollars strictly for commerce, since the 40% silver versions had ended in 1970. This year is also unusual because no 1973 Kennedy halves were released in mint sets, and business strike coins did not enter widespread circulation, making fully preserved examples harder to locate today. The year also reflects broader economic struggles, rising inflation, metal shortages, and significant adjustments in the nation's monetary system, which all indirectly influenced minting practices. The 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts on the obverse. The detailed rendering of Kennedy's hair, especially on early and sharply struck Denver pieces, is a central grading focal point and a key reason high-end examples are so prized. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential seal, an eagle clutching olive branches and arrows, surrounded by a burst of stars. Struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, the coin weighs 11.34 grams and measures 30.6 in diameter. What makes the 1973 D particularly interesting is how seldom it appears with fully defined details, mirrored surfaces, or minimal abrasions, traits that dramatically elevate its value in the highest grades. Although the Denver Mint produced over 83 million 1973 D-half dollars, surviving specimens in top-tier mint state conditions, especially MS-67 and above, are exceedingly rare. Most coins entered general storage, bank holdings, or minor circulation, accumulating contact marks typical of large, heavy coins. The rarity lies not in the mintage, but in condition rarity. Only a minute fraction exhibits exceptional luster, crisp strikes, and clean surfaces. Even grading companies note that the 1973 D is notoriously difficult to certify at the highest levels, which explains why a single grade point jump can result in massive price increases. A handful of elite examples graded MS-67 Plus or MS-68 remain the top-tier trophies sought by registry set collectors. In circulated condition, the 1973 D-half dollar holds only modest value, usually between $1 to $4. However, the story changes dramatically with high-grade mint state pieces. MS-66 examples often sell for $60–120, depending on eye appeal. MS-67 specimens, considered truly scarce, can command $400–800. MS-67 Plus graded coins, which are extremely difficult to acquire, have sold in the $1–500 range. MS-68 examples, the finest known, can reach $5,000–10,000 plus at major auctions when registry competition is strong. These values reflect the growing trend of collectors recognizing the investment potential of modern condition rarities, especially those with low population numbers at the top of the grading scale. For collectors seeking a premium 1973 D-half dollar, close attention to strike quality, luster, and surface preservation is essential. Look for sharp hair detail over Kennedy's ear, clean fields free of heavy contact marks, and strong reverse definition. Because subtle imperfections can significantly affect the grade, certification from trusted services such as PCGS or NGC is highly recommended, especially for coins you intend to buy, sell, or use in registry sets. When purchasing, consider reputable dealers, established auction houses, or certified marketplace platforms where population data and price history are available. Proper storage, such as in inert capsules or slab holders, will help preserve mint luster and prevent discoloration. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar remains an impressive modern collectible, celebrated for its combination of historical significance, detailed design, and condition-based rarity. Though common in lower grades, the coin becomes truly extraordinary at the top of the mint state scale, where only a handful of examples exhibit the pristine qualities collectors crave. For both seasoned numismatists and new enthusiasts, this coin represents an excellent study in how modern clad issues can achieve remarkable value when scarcity meets exceptional preservation. Whether pursued for its beauty, its legacy, or its investment potential, the 1973 D half-dollar continues to hold an important place in the world of U.S. coin collecting. Next up in the 1974 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a fascinating coin within modern U.S. numismatics, valued not only for its place in American history, but also for the unique and desirable varieties that emerged from its production. While most circulated examples are common and inexpensive today, certain high-grade and rare error varieties have gained exceptional appeal among collectors. These standout pieces, especially those in pristine mint state condition or struck with dramatic minting anomalies, command strong demand on the market. Their desirability comes from the combination of historical relevance, design clarity, and the difficulty of finding them in top-tier grades after decades of circulati minted at the Denver Mint in 1974. The 1974 D. Kennedy half-dollar continued the series introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his assassination. By the mid-1970s, circulating half-dollar usage in everyday commerce had sharply declined. Yet production continued primarily for banking and commercial needs rather than widespread public use. The 1974 D issue came during a period of increasing public interest in modern coinage and government monetary policies, occurring just after the U.S. fully abandoned the silver standard for circulating coins. Though not commemorating a particular event, the coin represents an era of transition in American coinage, moving fully into base metal designs and reflecting national sentiment around Kennedy's legacy. The 1974 D. Kennedy half-dollar follows the classic design introduced a decade earlier. The obverse features Gilroy Roberts' portrait of President John F. Kennedy, sculpted with clean, modern lines that emphasize dignity and strength. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's adaptation of the presidential seal features the heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars. Struck in copper-nickel clad, the coin weighs 11.34 grams and measures 30.6 in diameter. Although business strike examples are common, the finest survivors show sharp luster, fully struck hair details on Kennedy's portrait, and clean fields that make them especially visually appealing. Error varieties such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, and high-grade coins with strong strikes are among the most collectible, while the general 1974 D mintage is high, making circulated examples plentiful. True rarity emerges in superb gem grades, MS66 and above, and in special error varieties. Because most half-dollars from the 1970s entered commercial bags, experienced contact marks, or suffered from weak strikes, high-grade survivors are genuinely scarce. The doubled die obverse DDO, the most famous variety for the 1974 D, is extremely rare and displays doubling in the inscriptions, especially in God We Trust, and sometimes the date. Well-preserved mint-state examples of this variety, especially those graded MS64 or higher, are considered condition rarities and attract serious bidding at auction. Most circulated 1974 D half dollars hold nominal face value worth, but the picture changes dramatically for elite specimens. A typical uncirculated example may sell for $4.10, while a premium MS-65 can reach $40.80 due to its relative scarcity. The major standout is the 1974 D double die obverse, which can command $200.800 in mid-mint state grades and well over $500.3000 for MS-65 or finer, depending on strike quality and eye appeal. Exceptional error strikes, like large off-centers, broad strikes, and wrong planchet errors, can bring anywhere from $150 to over $2,000, depending on their severity and condition. While not as expensive as earlier silver era halves, the best 1974 D examples show stable appreciation and continue to grow in popularity among modern issue specialists. Collectors seeking high-quality 1974 D halves should prioritize coins certified by reputable grading services such as PCGS or NGC, especially when dealing with rare double dies or high-grade examples. Inspect the obverse lettering closely under magnification to identify doubling, focusing on the motto and the date. When selecting ungraded coins, look for sharp hair details, clean fields, minimal abrasions, and strong luster. Proper storage is essential. Non-PVC holders, temperature control, and limited handling prevent surface degradation. Acquiring top-quality examples often involves browsing auction listings, dealer inventories, and participating in numismatic forums where specialists may offer varieties that rarely appear in general circulatio. In summary, the 1974 D Kennedy half dollar stands as a significant collectible within modern numismatics, offering both historical charm and intriguing variety-based value. While the standard issue is widely available, the coin's real allure lies in its scarce high-grade specimens and famous double-die variety, which elevate it into the realm of highly sought-after modern errors. Collectors appreciate its rich historical ties, elegant design, and the challenge of locating pristine examples. As interest in modern American coinage grows, the best 1974 D halves, particularly those authenticated and well-preserved, continue to show strong investment potential and enduring appeal for coin enthusiasts at every level. Next up to in the 1989 D Kennedy half dollar represents a distinctive piece within the long-running Kennedy series, appealing to both advanced numismatists and entry-level collectors alike. Although it is not among the ultra-key dates of the series, such as the 1964 or early 1970s issues, it has drawn attention for its relatively modern production, condition sensitivity, and potential for higher-grade premiums. In the world of modern U.S. half dollars, condition rather than sheer scarcity often drives value, and this coin is no exception. With tens of millions minted in 1989, its appeal today lies in locating superior-grade gem pieces, for example MS-66, MS-67 or better, that stand out among a large pool of available examples. For collectors trying to complete a full Dayton Mintmark set of the Kennedy half dollar series, the 1989 D is a logical modern inclusion and a useful benchmark for condition, and the Kennedy half dollar was first issued in 1964 in honor of John F. Kennedy following his assassination. And over the decades, the series has remained a staple of U.S. numismatics. By 1989, the series had long since moved from the 90% silver composition of the early years into the copper-nickel-clad format used for general circulation. In 1989, the Denver Mint, Mint Mark D, struck approximately 23,216 pieces of the business strike half dollar. Although the coin was still technically a circulating issue, usage of the half dollar in everyday commerce had been declining for many years, and many pieces entered the numismatic marketplace rather than remaining in heavy circulation. Thus the 1989D occupies an interesting place. Produced in large numbers, yet increasingly collected rather than widely spent, making it a transitional piece in the series. Later era the 1989D Candy Half retains the familiar and iconic design. On the obverse the left-facing bust of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts with Liberty above and In God W.E. Trust below, and the date 1989 and mint mark D near the rim. On the reverse is the heraldic eagle designed by Frank Gasparo, with the eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars and the inscriptions, United States of America, and $50. The coin is copper-nickel clad, 75% copper and 25% nickel composition according to one source. It has a diameter of about 30.6 and weight about 8 grams in the commercially listed specifications. What makes the coin visually or technically interesting for a modern piece is that, although large mintages exist, finding pieces with minimal contact marks, full luster, sharp strike and pleasing surfaces is increasingly challenging as grade rises. For a collector seeking a superior example, the 1989D offers the chance to secure a modern date with nice eye appeal. While the mintage of 23 million plus for the 1989D is large by numismatic standards, the real key to value is condition and survival. According to PCGS, the survival estimate for this issue, all grades, is about 8,050,075 pieces, with about 805,007 in grades MS60 or better, and approximately 161,001 in grades MS65 or better. The relative rarity rating for MS65 and better is around R19 for the series, meaning that while not extremely rare, examples in top uncirculated grades are significantly scarcer than typical business strikes. What this means is that the bulk of the coins are found in lower uncirculated grades, MS60, MS65, while pieces graded MS66, MS67, or better become much harder to locate. PCGS notes that the 1989D is fairly easy to obtain in all circulated grades up to about MS66 condition. In MS67, it becomes much harder to find. For a collector, this translates into the condition premium kicks in rather sharply above MS66, so the difference between a regular uncirculated example and. In terms of market value, the 1989D Kennedy $50 is modestly priced in typical uncirculated grades, but values escalate meaningfully in high grades. One price guide, APMEX, lists values around US $10 for MS65, US $21 for MS66, and about US $138 for MS67. Another more detailed source observes that typical business strike 1989D pieces in uncirculated condition start around US $3.58 or so, with MS67 examples reaching approximately US $395. It should be noted that auction record figures for this exact date mint mark and very high grade appear scant, but the trend is clear. As the grade improves, premiums rise steeply even though the coin is from a high mintage.